The life at the helm of an F1 team, jumping at shadows and pointing the finger one moment to finding a legally dubious loophole and jumping through it the next. The duality that lies in the top positions of our favorite teams is dizzying, with people we love to hate or hate to love calling the shots and calling out other teams to give theirs the advantage, or perhaps level the playing field by stripping another team's advantages away. This week, one of the more loved leaders on the grid had a pretty brash reaction to some news that sparked murmurs of inside trading of information, more thorough and sudden clampdowns on teams by the FIA, and more than anything has cast a doubt onto the legitimacy of who he believes will be his biggest rival moving into the next season. Want to know the supposed Red Bull advantage that has been exposed by Zak Brown? It's not the revelation itself that we find to be pressing, but more the consequences that it may have on the futures of all the teams in the paddock. And stick around, because the other teams may have seen something like this coming and have pushed away their closest allies after taking a glimpse into their crystal balls. So where else to start but everyone's favorite Californian since OJ, Zak Brown, who this week came out and stated that he smelt a rat over in Milton Keynes. His concern centers around keeping teams truly independent of one another in order to maintain sporting integrity, taking the recent announcements surrounding Red Bull and its sister team as a concern to say the least. To catch you up on what Zak's so worried about, Red Bull's sister team, formerly AlphaTauri, is set to be rebranded. However, it's not just the visuals and the branding that are set to change. This is due to the stepping back of long-term team principal Franz Tost, as well as the current outlay of the grid presenting the opportunity to hit somewhat of a factory reset on the sister team, in seemingly more of a drastic way than the one undertaken back in 2020 when they initially rebranded from Toro Rosso to AlphaTauri. This became apparent when Helmut Marko revealed that the sister team will be taking every legal part possible from Red Bull, bringing them into a far tighter technical alignment. It comes at a time not only where the team is more malleable due to the departure of Tost, but also coincides with a continued drop-off in form in the last couple of years. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Why is this an issue? Surely it's no different to what Haas and Ferrari have going on. Well, the issue is inherent to the type of relationships that the teams share. Haas is a customer team of Ferrari, much like Williams is to Mercedes, meaning they can purchase elements of the car off of Ferrari due to their continued power unit agreement. They can buy as they wish, however that's where the influence ends, hence the Haas team competing in the Formula Mobility Scooter League at the back of the grid. Alfa Rosso Bull, whatever they're called, is a sister team of Red Bull, not merely a customer, sharing many aspects of leadership and influence, and more importantly, having less of an incentive to keep as much of a distance. Think about it, there's an imbalance of wealth in the family, meaning we can't share the same joys as going on a family holiday where we all chip in. I own a car dealership and I'm well off. My brother is broke and needs a job. I give my brother a job, he gets that lovely moolah, and we're off in Hawaii sipping on margs and grilling shrimp in no time. The benefit of the sibling is to the benefit of the family. So what exactly did Mr. Brown say this caused such a skeptical gaze to be cast on the sibling teams? Well, when speaking to Autosport, the McLaren CEO had this to say. Also, we have some big concerns over the alliance between AlphaTauri and Red Bull. I think that is something that needs to be addressed in the future, so I still think the sport has a way to go to make sure everyone is truly independent. It is two teams with common ownership, which you wouldn't have in other sports. It could benefit Red Bull in a lot of different ways. There is a reason why they are moving a lot of their people from Italy. As Helmut Marko has said, they're going to do absolutely everything they can to benefit from having two teams. I get that because that's what the rules say, but I think we need to look at the governance of the sport around technical alliances. Well, surely this is all just supposition, a ghost story to cast doubt on their rivals before they attempt to reel them in next year. I can't for a second think that anyone inside the Alfa Bull Minardi Rosso camp would have anything to say recently that had stoked this little spark of an idea. The initial decision to go our own way with those critical parts simply was an error, and the people who made the decision back then are not with us anymore, Peter Bayer told Autosport. Nice one. Thanks, Peter. The transparency from Bayer in a recent interview of Autosport was quite peculiar, as at this time of year, teams normally stay stumm up until testing before the yearly appendage measuring begins. However, Bayer confirmed that they are keeping a portion of the AlphaTauri design principle, more precisely the back end, while taking on the bulk of the remainder of the car directly off of Red Bull. We're more surprised about the admission of technical direction more than the head honcho admitting to a closer working relationship with Red Bull, as, like his right-hand man Jody Eggington says, it's all rule obedient and above board. Next year, we'll carry over our rear end, and on the front, we'll take the Red Bull front suspension on the current car, so we will be 1 year behind. There have been years where, for various reasons, we've done something a little bit different, but we've got the opportunity to do this and the regulations permit it, so we'll do it as a number of other teams do. However, just because the rules don't say we can't, doesn't mean there isn't potentially dubious goings-on occurring between the teams. It's F1. Loopholes are the name of the game. I mean, for Senna's sake, the fan car was a thing because you never said we couldn't, so we did. So what could be done to tighten things up and ensure that there is no room for any funny business? Well, the FIA's head of single-seat competition, Nicholas Tombazis, has said that he wants to limit any kind of rule skirting and malpractice by dropping in on teams when they least expect it, having this to say: "We want to go to basically zero notice. We don't think we should just be entering the door and going in, but we do think that it would be right to have a process in place where we can just phone them, and somebody comes out and picks up these people and they can say, 'I want to go and see the wind tunnel,' or whatever." Well, it really is no surprise that the governing body has had to play to the tune of the teams, but this is a pretty sorry look for them, it has to be said. Much akin to a parent having to do a countdown before their child can come back in the room, it has been far too easy for teams to keep their aggressors at arm's length while they hide any evidence of wrongdoing, with Tombazis going on to set his ideal time of delay before inspection: about 10 to 15 minutes. We want to get to the point where it's really quite immediate, so we don't have to wait at the gate for another hour or something like that. So if leaving the teams with no time nor room to hide is the eventual goal, then what could the inter-team relationships look like moving forward? Well, removing any possibility of Red Bull selling their sister team, because we believe that Zach is right on that front. The whole shared ownership thing is a bit weird and leads to a lot of uncertainty, even if it hasn't necessarily been acted on in a dishonest manner as far as we know so far. Well, then it may come down to a clear separation between collaborating parties. This has been best highlighted recently by Aston Martin's performance director, Tom McCullough, who emphasized the needs for this separation when he said this in a recent interview about their previously shared wind tunnel with Mercedes. The FIA are pretty strict and do a lot of inspections and all that stuff. Dominic Harlow comes and visits the teams, but for us with Mercedes, it is absolutely shut down to one, open to the other. Different access doors, different people running the sessions, so I think from a confidentiality point of view, obviously the relationship we have with Mercedes is very robust from that side. The FIA, that's their job to police all that. So regardless of how teams collaborate, there must be a clear separation. But given the governing body's uncertain future in relation to the sport, as well as their continuous lapses of leadership and clear inability to enact change fast, just how many loopholes will be jumped through before they are finally revealed and subsequently tied up?